All right. Can you guys hear me? All right. Thank you everyone. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I'm Rifat. I come from Bangladesh, which is one of the seventh most climate vulnerable countries, as you may know it. Back in 2022, the country was hit with one of the worst floods it has seen in decades. And I went there along with my friends to see how people were adapting to it. And it was devastating. People were not surviving with much more than hope. Um, in 2022, my friend Bashar also went to COP27. There he mentioned how there were 87 Bangladeshis as part of the delegation. However, over here in COP28, we see probably around more than 1,000 delegations, not delegations, 1,000 people from Bangladesh. Most of them, though, working to keep this place together. Unfortunately, they're not taking part in these negotiations. Um, and you may think that these people deserve a seat at the table and should advocate for adaptation and mitigation policies, but they're not welcomed here. Um, so this documentary that we created over the last year with me, my friend Bashar, cycling all around Bangladesh, documenting how these people are adapting to um, not much more than hope, basically. So yeah, let's look at the documentary, I guess.
টাঙ্গার পাহানি রে কোহল খোলাইয়া তুমি বাটির দেশে
In the heart of Bangladesh, sunlight dances with rustling leaves, creating a ballet of shadow and light on a stage of banyan trees. Here, ponds mirror the sky and rivers reflect a fisherman's oar, creating an illusion of undisturbed serenity, a whisper that all is well.
আমার কবর
This is boatman Maruf's voice. His journey in Bangladesh's ever changing river landscape is marked by upstream challenges, including rising temperatures and its ripple effects. As the water of the Podda, Meghna, and Brahmaputra rivers surge and recede, Maruf's daily life reflects stark contrasts, illuminating the story of survival and adaptation amidst relentless trials by the environment. The once nourishing waters now bring emptiness and hardship, turning villages into islands and roads into submerged pathways, making access to essentials uncertain. And this is just the shallow end of Bangladesh's deeper problems. However, Maruf's story is a testament to the resilient Bangladeshi spirit. With resourcefulness and unwavering determination, he adapts, much like his countrymen and women. These unsung heroes of Bangladesh live in a constant dance with nature's forces, grappling with swamped fields and unpredictable weather that disrupt their lives and livelihoods. Their resilience echoes the heartbeat of the nation that is now calling for change. This is a ballet of unwavering perseverance, an unending battle that defines their stories of change. As you might have guessed, I come from Bangladesh, a land steeped in stories. Some of them are hand me downs from my mother, which I carried with me to Canada. But that was then. In high school, I was hit with the reality of climate change. And the idea that my homeland might be underwater by 2050 became a dull but significant weight on my conscience. It wasn't just my homeland, it was my heritage drowning in the sea. Then, when I attended COP27 in 2022, I couldn't help but notice that the voices that really needed to be heard, like those from the marginalized communities in Bangladesh, were getting lost in the global chatter. I couldn't just stand by. So I embarked on a 1200-kilometer cycling odyssey across Bangladesh, from Tetulia in the north to Teknaf in the south. I needed to experience my homeland and connect with its people, and to see their evolving way of life. Each pedal stroke revealed battles against rising waters and uncertain futures. Where there was warmth, generosity, and kindness, there was also vulnerability, a kind of innocent acceptance of the ways of the changing world, but they smiled through it all, without quite understanding what was really happening. Or maybe they understood it better than we all did.
আমরাও আগে দেখি নাই, কিন্তু না আমরার বেলায় দেখতেছি যে এরকম আগে বলছে তো অত বৃষ্টি হয়েছে না। আগে তো মনে হয় আরো নিশ্চিত আছেন। এই যে আমরা ছোটবেলায় দেখছি যে আমরা যে এই অঞ্চলগুলোর মধ্যে প্রতি বছর তো মাটি কাটে, যে বাড়ির মাধ্যমে মাটি তারা মেরামত করে। প্রতি বছরই দেখা গেছে কেউ 5 ইঞ্চি, কেউ 6 ইঞ্চি, কেউ 7 ইঞ্চি করে মাটি উচ্চতর করে, কেউ মনে হয় বস্তা দিয়ে মনে হয় সাইড প্রোডাকশন করে। দেখা যাচ্ছে প্রতি বছর করার পরেও এই ফানি গভীর হয়নি, বাড়তিতে হয়। এই ফানিগুলো যদি মনে হয় আটকানোর ক্ষমতা থাকতো আমার আপনার, তো আমরা অনেক আগেই চেষ্টা করতাম।
First থেকে he seemed like very knowledgeable, and like I asked him questions like random questions about like being interested in that place, and he was very like সুন্দর করে জিনিসগুলো বলছে, and I was like holy shit.
This is my friend and co-storyteller Rifat, who helped me interview Maruf.
অনেক ethical একজন মানুষ. He's like, he cares about his pura gram. So when we like went around,
Despite hearing Maruf's story, what stayed with us after our interactions was the hospitality he showed us and the practicality that he showed in the face of these challenges.
Second ডেতে আমাদেরকে না খাওয়ায় ছাড়বে না, আস্তে আস্তে লাইক আমরা একদম বর্ডারে গেছিলাম to like document the indigenous people.
But in order to understand his world and to try to help Maruf, we must first understand the nature of Bangladesh's inland lakes, or simply put, haors, and how they are affected by climate change.
Imagine a massive bowl filled with fields and villages that, for part of the year, turns into a huge lake. This happens because the haor is like a natural basin, sitting at a lower elevation compared to the surrounding land, as it's south of the Meghalaya range. During the dry season, it looks like any other part of rural Bangladesh with fields and farms. When the monsoon season hits, it's a whole different story. The area gets flooded with water from the heavy rains and from rivers swelling up. It's not just a little bit of water we're talking about. It's a massive transformation. The fields and everything turn into a vast expanse of water. It's like watching a landscape magically turn into a giant lake. With climate change, the frequency of this land with 4 million people turning into a lake is increasing day by day.
In Bangladesh's northeast, you will find Sylhet, a place known for lush greenery and these vast haors. They pose real challenges for the locals, especially during monsoon seasons. Flooding cuts off kids from school for months, leaving empty classrooms and forcing these children to try and study at home. Access to healthcare also becomes a luxury with submerged roads. The region faces additional challenges from nearby stone quarries causing landslides, altering the landscape, and all of these, combined with unpredictable climate changes, makes life in Sylhet even tougher. Head to the southwest, where the waterways tell ancient stories and the majestic Sundarbans stand guard. Yet, coolness life source, its water, is changing due to climate shifts. Salinity intrusion is no longer a periodic worry but a daily challenge affecting agriculture. Fields that once grew rice now lay fallow. However, the community has adapted by embracing new options like crab farming, shrimp cultivation, and salt-tolerant crops to combat salinity. Further south, and you find Cox's Bazar, with its unending embrace of golden sand, a sight of serenity that conceals a deeper story. Far beyond the horizon, a humanitarian challenge unfolds. Thousands of Rohingyas have sought refuge here, fleeing atrocities from Myanmar. Their heart-ending tales echoing in the temporary shelters they now call home. The region, while a sanctuary for many, is a delicate balance of nature and humanity. As I rode along, I encountered multiple stories, anecdotes, histories, and personal hopes, each with their own unique flavor of experience with the changing landscape.
শফিকের একটা গড়া সিন এটা বসবাস করতো এটা হঠাৎ করিয়া বন্যার পানি আইয়া এই বান ভাঙ্গিয়া তার গড় দরজা সব নিয়ে গেছে।
পানি কতটুকু আসছে? তখন আপনারা কি করছেন?
আমরা ওই স্কুলে যাই থাকছি সব নিচ্ছি
স্কুলে যাও কোন ক্লাসে? ক্লাস 5-এ। তুমি তখন বন্যা কয় মাস ছিল? স্কুলে কয়দিন যেতে পারো নাই?
স্কুলে গেছি না।
কত যেতে আসো না? বন্যার সময়
না জর্জিন যাইতাছি না, 1 বছর এখন বাড়ি ছিল।
বড় লোকরা যাইতে একবার বা পাঁচতলা তো তারা শান্তি নেই, আমরা এই গাছতলাতে শান্তি আছি।
যদি আবার বন্যা হয় কি করবেন?
কি করবো এটাই করা লাগবো, এবার তো তখন লাগবো, কোনো আর জায়গা তো আর জায়গা নাই।
But despite every element being against them, people were not just enduring, they were adapting, finding ingenious ways to overcome the challenges they faced.
I think the people of Bangladesh is one of the most resilient people in the world.
This is Wafi Kalum, who's a director at Kodek, an NGO working in the coastal regions of Bangladesh. Having worked closely with the people, he understands their strength just as much he sympathizes with their plight.
I've seen that they are one of the most resilient people in the world because for them to lose hope is not an option. The most, I think, strength of our people is that when you try to introduce new ideas, when you try to look for new adaptive measures in the community, they are the expertise. At the end of the day, we can survive. Survival is the question now.
Communities, when we go to them, they're already resilient, right? They have been adapting for decades now.
And I would say that in Bangladesh, at least, we're far more advanced in understanding the issues. In comparison to quite a lot of the other countries, I think we're far more advanced in understanding the vulnerabilities that we have.
তো এই মুভমেন্টগুলো তৈরি হচ্ছে, ওটার সাথে সাথে কিন্তু বিভিন্ন সাইড বাই সাইড অনেক মুভমেন্ট তৈরি হচ্ছে যেগুলো ক্লাইমেট ফোকাসড। সো ওরা নিজেদেরকে এখন ওরিয়েন্ট করতেছে। বাংলাদেশ যেহেতু ওয়ান অফ দ্য ভালনারেবল কান্ট্রি, এটা রিয়েলাইজ করে কিন্তু এখন ইয়ট্রে এগিয়ে আসছে, কারণ নিয়ার ফিউচারে কিন্তু ইয়ট্রে আসলে এফেক্টেড হবে মোস্টলি।
There are systems in place to fund the losses and damages faced every year and to enable adaptation and mitigation for vulnerable communities. However, these systems have their fair share of problems. Here is Shohanur Rahman, a longtime advocate for climate justice who has spent years mobilizing the youth into climate action. While he sees light at the end of the tunnel, he also understands the systemic inefficiencies which hold back these systems from working.
জলবায়ু পরিবর্তন নিয়ে একটা হচ্ছে এটা একটা সিস্টেম ক্রাইসিসের অংশ।
অর্থাৎ আমাদের যে এখন পৃথিবীর যে ব্যবস্থা, এই ব্যবস্থাটা একটা অন্যায্য ব্যবস্থা। এই ব্যবস্থাটা হচ্ছে অসমতাকে, বৈষম্যকে তৈরি করে। এই ব্যবস্থাটায় কিছু মানুষ তারা ধনী হয়ে যাচ্ছে, আর কিছু মানুষ মরে যাচ্ছে, কিছু মানুষ বাড়িহারা হচ্ছে, বাস্তুচ্যুত হচ্ছে, না? সো এবং সেই মানুষরা হচ্ছে আমাদের ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত মানুষগুলো। যখন আমরা উন্নত বিশ্ব থেকে টাকা পাচ্ছি না, আমাদের টাকায়, আপনার পয়সা, আমার পয়সায় ট্রাস্ট ফান্ড রয়েছে। সেই ট্রাস্ট ফান্ডের অনেক অব্যবস্থাপনা আমরা দেখেছি। যেটা যাওয়ার কথা গ্রাস রুটে, সেটা দিয়ে ঢাকায় ফ্লাইওভার হচ্ছে, আমরা দেখেছি। কিংবা যে এলাকায় যাওয়ার কথা না, কিন্তু রাজনৈতিক কারণে সেই এলাকায় গিয়েছে, যেখানে যাওয়ার কথা সেখানে যাচ্ছে না। পরে দেখা গেল যে ট্রাস্ট ফান্ডে একটা বড় অংশের টাকা এমন একটা ব্যাংকে রাখা হলো, সেই ব্যাংকটাই পরে আর নাই, পরে আরেকটা ব্যাংক হয়ে গেল। এখন আমরা আমাদের নিজেদের টাকাই আমরা রিকভার করতে পারছি না।
After days of heavy rain, landslides, along with tidal surge that has battered the hill region of southeast Bangladesh, news started to emerge of the extent of damage as water slowly started to recede in the area.
Speaking of injustice, this country also faced the worst of nature's wrath due to its position in the cradle of the Bay of Bengal. As sea levels rise, cyclones intensify, and monsoons become unpredictable. Headlines do little to cover the extents of nature's savagery. Where there's a will, there's a way, and a debate. Just ask the country's youth.
আমার মেইন কনসার্ন হচ্ছে যে মানুষের জন্য, যারা আসলে ক্লাইমেট ভালনারেবল এরিয়াতে বসবাস করে, তাদের জন্য কিছু করা।
They know their tech.
So our mission is to reduce the effect of climate change through tech.
They understand communication.
We can divert the attention of these youth, these people who are being affected.
And more than that, they understand policy.
The mission that we have right now to present in COP28, this will actually help us, in our mission and to continue this whole thing beyond COP. So that's all from my side. Thank you.
আমরা একই দেশে বাস করি, আমরা বাঙালি, কিন্তু আমরা কিন্তু সুবিধা দিক থেকে এক না।
কি বলে এটাকে ইম্প্যাক্ট মিনিমাইজ করে ফেলতে হবে। এই ধরনের অনেক টেক স্টার্টআপ থাকা উচিত না, বাট নাই।
এই টাইপ জিনিসগুলো যতক্ষণ পর্যন্ত সবার মধ্যে চলে না আসবে, ততক্ষণ পর্যন্ত ক্লাইমেট চেঞ্জও কোনো কাজে আসবে না।
All of the discussions that we are having, I can say that it's something that has to be done. और एक्सपर्ट्सটা বলতেছিল যে this is the biggest or the সবচেয়ে effective একটা হিট ওয়েভ ছিল in the last few years, decade.
That people, companies, stakeholders and everyone stop faking themselves as a very good of a climate activist.
যারা রিসার্চ প্রোগ্রামগুলো রান করতে যায়, তারা সমস্যা থাকে না।
এইখানে আমি জব ক্রিয়েট করতে হবে আমাকে ফার্স্ট অফ অল।
Things that need our attention doesn't get our attention.
জল আছে, water everywhere, not a single drop to drink.
সুতরাং জবাবদিহিতা মূলত is the backbone of any system যেটা needs efficiency or efficient work out.
সেকেন্ড অফ অল হচ্ছে গিয়ে যখন আমরা জব ক্রিয়েট করতে পারবো, তখন জলের অ্যাক্সেসগুলো মানুষ পাবে, তখন মানুষ আরও বেশি ইয়ে হবে।
Our little youth panel threw up a sea of actionable insights, and this was just Dhaka. We even took the conversation to New York.
Actually, I would like to share.
Any story?
I think, I think a story would be pretty apt.
This is Zahir Abbas, a policy enthusiast who's leading the Youth Policy Forum in Bangladesh. He represents this well-informed and well-educated new league of action takers. Well, there is much he said. What hit me the hardest was his concluding statement about climate anxiety.
This is a bit sad, but I think it's important to keep it in perspective. But Amar, I remember around 2018, we had this huge monsoon. It was really bad. I think there was a cyclone in the south of the country. In Dhaka, there was a lot of rain. And I remember that was the first time I'd ever felt anxious, like ecologically anxious. It was a passing moment. I was so afraid. I sat down and I wrote something. And now it's been 5 years, just 5 years. Nothing happens in 5 years. Our government has a plan, a 5-year plan, and that's what happens in 5 years. But 5 years later, it's not even like a one-stop thing. Eco-anxiety, my worry for the future is a very constant thing. And I can safely say that it's a constant thing for each of us young people. This is our main problem now. This is what we're worried about and what we're going to be writing about and working about. So I guess all I can say is that, maybe to anyone watching this, if you've been wondering what the battle is that you have to fight, this is the battle. But the good news is you're not alone in fighting this battle. Almost everyone who's going to be alive for the next 50, 60 years, hopefully, also wants to fight this battle, and they're with you. So, yeah.
From where I stand, I do see a growing chorus of voices around me, gathering to lend strength to change. And with some pride, I think I can say that Bangladesh has become a global laboratory where lessons in adaptation and survival are being studied.
This is Nayoka, the first secretary and deputy head of development cooperation for the Embassy of Sweden in Bangladesh. And she talks about the role of youth in all of this.
The international community recognizes the special position of Bangladesh. So when Bangladesh comes into the international fora, for example, they listen to Bangladesh because Bangladesh comes with experience, with evidence, with all the data. And then they can go back and say, hey, we, one of the most climate vulnerable countries, this is what we plan to do. We also have to realize that Bangladesh is graduating from a low to middle income country, right? And so Bangladesh has its own targets and ambitions for this, what it's calling a green transition. So what we would like to partner on is to make sure that it is a just green transition, which means that we don't forget the people who usually tend to be left behind when we do all this economic, when we look at all these economic development kind of measures. Right?
And at the end of the day, this is in no way a story of vulnerability. Rather, it's a story of remarkable resilience despite losing everything. And it's a story of hope, where people are denying to give up.
As I embarked on my journey, I prepared for scenes of hardship, anticipating communities struggling with the scarcity and challenges of climate change. Yet, what I discovered was something remarkable: the unwavering human spirit. This has led me to believe that change isn't distant or abstract. It's as real as the stories we share. And now we are trying to do our part. So in the past year, we created an atlas visualizing the actions that have been taken despite severe climate challenges. Just one small but hopefully significant contribution to the greater effort. From Silet's isolated communities to Khulna's changing tides. From Chittagong's ancient whispers to Cox's Bazar's sanctuary. Bangladesh truly does tell a tale of determination in the face of despair. And like Maruf, Bangladesh may not have everything, but what we do have is the relentless drive to overcome, to adapt, and to thrive. This is our message to the world. Hope is our most powerful tool, and with it, we will reshape our future. Because every story of hope is a chapter in a larger story of our collective humanity. So let's keep telling these stories.
মেঘনার পাহানির এ পর্দার পাহানির এ কোহল কলাইয়া তুমি বাটির দেশে যাও রে.
Right, so I guess when we talk about adaptation and different policies, I guess we often tend to forget about the stories that are behind them and often think those as numbers. So that was the main purpose of the documentary, that we wanted to back it by stories, right? We were first-time filmmakers. We have never created a film before, just so that we could tell these stories that we personally experienced. So yeah, thank you so much for being here, guys. And yeah, we also have created an atlas. It's on our website where you can find all the stories listed. that we have gathered, and like the communities, the grassroots level efforts and stuff like that. So it's on our website, I guess. We can share the link with you. Yeah, cool. Thank you so much.